So, in a blockbuster move, T-Mobile has added US Cellular to their portfolio. The Un-carrier is snapping up 30% for the reported 4.4 billion. This includes all the subscribers and brick and mortar retail locations. T-Mobile will also assume around 2 billion in debt from US Cellular and rent towers from the company. T-Mobile has framed the bill not as a reduction in competition, but as a way to more directly compete against industry titans AT&T and Verizon. The acquisition follows along the line of deals including Sprint and Mint Mobile. So, what's your take on that, Tom? You're in the US. I'm in the EU. T-Mobile is big here. They're probably big in the US as well. So, what's your take on that?
You're right. They are big. They're the third largest competitor out there. I mean, all you got to know is that AT&T is blue, Verizon is red, T-Mobile is pink. That's kind of how we look at them around here. It's like sweetener packets. But more importantly, when you read into what's going on here, it's really odd. So the for one part of the press, what they're saying is that we're increasing reliability and services to rural customers. So everyone out there knows rural customers, basically anyone who doesn't live in a city that you've heard of in the US. But when you look at US Cellular, it was a regional provider. It was kind of mostly the mid Atlantic in the east and kind of in the south. Like we have some US Cellular here in Oklahoma, but not nearly as much as we used to because they're starting to get crowded out by those larger providers. Most people are on Verizon or AT&T. It's the Coke and Pepsi. It's the, any of the other binary choices. And so T-Mobile needs to do something to commit to getting better. Although I will say that they are not making their customers happy. So any of the goodwill that you've seen or heard of from T-Mobile back when John Laguerre used to run the thing, yeah, that's gone. The new guy is basically like, what was it, like 2 days ago? They announced that they're raising prices for their customers. Like, there's a lot of angry people who are writing the FCC right now going, I can't believe that you said that you put it in writing that you would not raise our bills. Wasn't a lot, but it was enough. Now, where does this whole thing come in? Well, one, this is going to make the investors happy. You're arming to get ready to take down AT&T and Verizon, just like you said you were going to do when you bought Sprint. Never mind that now. What you're getting access to is a whole lot of new subscribers. It was very important that the deal was structured so that T-Mobile took on all of US Cellular subscribers, but not all of US Cellular's infrastructure. Because what they get is what their investors want, a revenue stream. They get new people who can stay on your US Cellular plan if you want, or you could upgrade to a T-Mobile plan if you wanted to too. Asterisk with some additional fees. That's what they're looking. They're looking for revenue growth. They're looking for subscriber growth. Because I got news for you. Most of the people in the country that have a cellular plan, that's the you haven't hit saturation, but you're really close. So now it's not a question of can I get net new subscribers? It's where are those net new subscribers going to be coming from? Well, they're probably going to be coming through acquisition. And that's what T-Mobile's betting on. But by not acquiring the infrastructure, that gives them two other kind of fundamental areas. One, it allows them to avoid the regulators because that's going to be a huge deal. When you're reducing competition in a market, the modern FTC has shown that they are very hesitant to just rubber stamp deals. So there has to be some kind of a trade off. And in this case, T-Mobile is going to be renting spectrum from US Cellular. So they're still going to be paying what remains of the other company. But more importantly, I think what this is this is basically tacit understanding that T-Mobile has all the infrastructure that they're going to need. I mean, Mint Mobile, the one we mentioned, that was an MVNO. For those of you who don't know, that's when you have a cellular plan with a company, but they don't actually own the towers; they just rent them. Boost Mobile is another popular one that does that. You see that they don't want to take on infrastructure that they're going to have to upgrade and constantly maintain. They would rather the company do that. So think about it would be like if a utility company provided power to your home, but they rented the transmission lines from a completely different company. And now that I say that, please don't do that, utility companies, because it's a dumb idea, because you're adding more chaos into the platform that causes people to get angry. So now let's say that there's an outage in Western North Carolina, which is actually a place where US Cellular was really huge. Whose problem is it? Is it T-Mobile because that's who my bill goes to? Well, no, it's not really T-Mobile's problem. It's actually US Cellular's problem, because they're the ones that still own the tower, even though I'm on a US Cellular plan on a T-Mobile um, uh, paper. Well, this gets really confusing. Now, you know what's going to end up happening is people are going to blame everybody. It's like it's always the wireless's fault. It's always my provider's fault. But I'm curious to see kind of where this goes. I think this should get through regulatory approval, just because of the way the deal is structured. But I could be wrong, and we still have a year to find out. So let's revisit this story in a year and see what happens. If nothing else, maybe we'll be on a new phone plan by then.